Ladies and gentlemen, do you remember how I told you that Voice of Akasha versus Rip was quite possibly match of the year? We have another match that contests that claim. I am not joking. This game is one of the wildest, most unpredictable, and chaotic slugfests I have seen in my life. This match had me at the edge of my seat. I was watching it daily, just waiting for it to conclude so I could finally cast it on the channel because I knew this was going to be an absolute banger, and it was. From start to finish, I promise you guys, you are going to absolutely love this. So please, sit yourself down, make yourself comfortable, and treat yourself to this game of Advanced Wars together with me. Today we're going to be taking a look at a game from the Master League, Round 3. It is still ongoing, the tournament that I started many months ago. I gave the players a long increment because I didn't want them to be pressured by time. So they really have no excuse not to play at their bests, and these two players definitely played at their best in this game. So I absolutely love the matchup that we have today because it is one of my favorite concepts. It's a new up-and-coming star versus an old legend. I always love matches like this because you kind of see the new versus the old, and it's always so interesting to see, you know, just how good are the legends of old? Can they hold up to the legends of tomorrow? You know, are they really the amazing players we've thought them to be for all these years, or are they not that good compared to the newcomers? You know, this is a question that I think gets asked in any kind of competitive sport or game, you know, and that's exactly what we're going to be taking a look at today, because in one corner we have Po1and, the up-and-coming star, I'd like to say. Like, this guy burst onto the scene a little while ago. He took a big win against Inkugark, which put him on the map, and then everyone started noticing him. And then he kind of fluctuated a little bit up and down, and then suddenly he just found his stride, and he's just been rising to the top of the ladder. He had an absolutely amazing performance in the last Grandmasters Live tournament, where he took a win against the one and only Starflash, which surprised everyone, and he went on to the finale, where he faced Deadefs and just he almost beat him, but not quite. And that really turned Po1and into one of my favorite players. A lot of people have said he's very similar to Starflash in his playstyle. He plays very erratically, he's wild, he does a lot of cool stuff in his matches. He's not really above taking crazy risks. Even in a tournament like this, you'll see him do weird and wacky things, which I love players like this. But he is up against a titan of old known as Jokas, or Yukas. I don't really know how you pronounce it. I say Jokas. So, looking at this guy's profile, you can't help but not be intimidated. The guy has 3 tournament wins. He's almost 1500 MMR. And he's one of those guys, he doesn't really play that much anymore. Like, he's not very commonly queuing up on the Global League. But whenever he does enter a tournament or a match, it's always like a big occasion. Everyone's like, ooh, it's Jokas. He's just been around forever. He's what we call an old monster. And to see these two players square off in this matchup is very exciting to me because, again, you got the new up-and-coming star versus the old legend. And it's going to be interesting to see who will come out on top. We have an interesting matchup, one that we don't see that much, but it is an interesting one for sure. It is Sasha versus Von Bolt. Von Bolt. I never know quite what to say. I think the consensus is for most people that Von Bolt has an edge against Sasha. You'd think it would be the other way around, because the market crash can pretty much delay Ex Machina for the entire match. But it just turns out that having a strong day today is really good. And even though Sasha will get that 10-10 boost from her power like every 3 turns, give or take, Von Bolt has it all the time, which turns out is pretty good. And if you're not careful, you could still get hit by an Ex Machina in the endgame. If you allow Von Bolt to take a big sweep, he could still generate enough power for the superpower, which in that case is most likely GG for Sasha. Now, Sasha does have some benefits of her own. She does get that extra income, which allows her to get a slight tank lead on her opponent, so she will outnumber her foe slightly. But I think that the consensus is still that Von Bolt has the slight advantage over Sasha, but it kind of depends on the map, I suppose. And let's talk about the map next. This map is called Celeste. It is one of the all-time greats. together with Hope Forlorn and Caustic Finale. It's just one of those maps that have been played hundreds and hundreds of times. And that is really the gimmick of the Master League, is that we wanted to take the best maps that are being played the most and then pitch up some of the best players in the world against each other on those maps. Sure, it may be a map that's seen a lot of play before, but that doesn't mean the match is going to not be exciting. Trust me, it's going to be very exciting. But I like Celeste. It's a very interesting map. It's broad, but it's not very tall, so you run into each other very quickly, and you tend to have battle on multiple fronts here. The airports on Celeste are very exposed. You can get an anti-air in range of them in a single turn. So you can build the anti-air right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and boom, you're already locking down the airport. In fact, you can put the anti-air here. Of course, then your opponent can just put an infantry here to block you, but still. So, because the airports are so exposed, there's a little thing about Celeste which makes it stand out a little bit, so to say. If we bring up the rules right here, you can see that I gave them a very generous timer. 5 days initially, 3 days per turn. That is more than you get in the Global League almost. So, actually, it is more. I think you get 2 days, 10 plus 2 in Global League. Here you get 5 plus 3. So, yeah, they actually have more time to make their moves than on the Global League, which is why this tournament is taking forever. But here are the rules of the match. 35-day limit. Very rarely will you actually go so far. But you may notice, if you're very perceptive, that stealth fighters are not banned on this map. So black bombs, of course, banned, but stealth fighters are allowed. So you need to be very cautious when you play on Celeste, because if your opponent managed to lock down your airport, what they can do is that they can build a stealth fighter, and then you don't have a fighter, which is, of course, the only unit that can counter the stealth fighter. So if that happens, yeah, things are bad for you. Very exposed comm towers. They're right in the middle. Not super common that they get taken over, but it is something that you have to keep in mind. Like with most other good standard maps, Celeste has a strong side, weak side component. Blue player has their strong side here against black player's weak side here, and the same here. Strong side for black, weak side for blue. HQ is slightly tilted on the weak side. HQ is actually pretty important in this match. You can position artillery on it. You can make a wall around it. There's also lots of mountains, so artillery play is incredibly important on Celestes. There's so many good spots you can plonk down an artillery to deny your opponent properties or just to reinforce your own army. These like two little mountains right here, you can nestle like a little artillery in the crook with a tank here. You can nestle an artillery here with an infantry on the city here and another infantry to guard this city. Your artillery can go here, so in the comm tower. Just tons of artillery play, which is why very often in Tier 4 you see Jake getting picked on this map. But we are not in a Tier 4 match. We are actually in a Tier 1 match. So that means either Hawk, Javier, Sasha, or Von Bolt. And I'd actually like to say that, maybe, aside from Javier, because they've exposed comm towers, Sasha, Von Bolt, and Hawk are all viable picks on this map. I'd say Von Bolt probably the strongest by a tiny margin, but all of them can really be played on this map. Because it's not like super small, but it's not super big either. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have introductioned enough. Let's get some Polish music going as we enter into this magnificent match between Poland and Jokus. So let's start this off here. Jokus in the black trunks, Poland in the blue trunks. It is Poland versus France. If you want to get funny. So obviously, as with most of these matches, you start by capturing the neutral properties. Nothing special there. And I do believe this is one of those maps where the capture chain has been all but figured out. In almost every single game that I see on Celeste, the units tend to move pretty much in the same way. One thing that I learned, I think it was Raider Al-Karaman who taught me this, is that you want to be very careful with it when you're playing on Celeste. You don't want to send infantry from this base over the river. It is very tempting to do it because there's a bunch of properties here, but you got to keep in mind that this is your weak side. So if you're sending infantry from your weak side over to your strong side, then your weak side is going to collapse. So what Raider Al-Karaman taught me on this map is don't move infantry over the river. Resist the urge to get these properties. Instead, send them north and go for these properties, and then rather let your infantry on your strong side go over here and capture. That way, you don't collapse your front, because since this is your weak side, every single unit that you have here is going to be super important. So, just a little trivia about this map. That can be nice to know if you ever get queued up on the Standard League. I think this map has been in the standard rotation for like forever. Just one of those maps that never go away. But Po1and already opening his first artillery on the left side here, going for the airport as well, coming out with a tank. So this is the kind of stuff that Sasha can do, you know? Like, look at that, exactly 0 money. So Po1and was able to get out a tank and an artillery on day 5. Joka simply cannot do that. He doesn't have the money for it. So this gives Sasha a bit of an early advantage because she can roll out with a higher unit count than her opponent. But of course, Jokas does have the advantage of that 10% extra defense and firepower, just means his units trades a little bit more favorably. And of course, as is the case with Von Bolt is, you know, whenever you go up against a Von Bolt player, what will they do? They'll just sit their tanks down on cities and they never die. It is so frustrating. Po1and moving out with the artillery, he's going to find a good little place to like nestle that artillery into a bit of a mountain nook right here. He can use it to kind of deny these 2 properties from Jokas, depending on where he wants to position it. And second artillery coming out from Po1and right here, so you can already tell this is going to be wild. Like 1 artillery? Sure, that's just for zoning. Once you go second artillery, or third artillery, or fourth artillery, that's when you know there's going to be an attack involving artillery. And attacks involving artillery are always fun, because they're so wacky. So again, this is what I was talking about. This is classic Von Bolt gameplay right here. Just moving the tank, sitting it down on the city. And boom, what can Sasha do against this? Hint, she can do nothing. She can attack, it's not a good idea. Of course, you know, you can just ignore the tank for the time being, but you need more tanks at some point, so. But of course, I would estimate that, yeah, Po1and's going to build this battlecopter immediately. Of course, Jokas can counter that quite easily with a anti-air, but this battlecopter will still ward away some of the aggression, and he can attack the artillery at some point. Jokas now moving his 2 artilleries into the center. He's going to try and do a lockdown on the artillery. And again, this is what I was talking about. The HQ is actually very good for defense on this map. You can plonk down your tanks there, and they are pretty safe, even from Bolt's first strikes. Jokas just moving his forces down, setting up his walls, moving forward very aggressively. When you're a Von Bolt, you can definitely afford to be a little bit more feisty than you otherwise would. So Po1and, again, you can see he doesn't capture these properties right away. He instead opts to go for the properties that are a little bit closer to the enemy. And he actually shifts his tank from his weak side over to his strong side, which is something that I said you should be not never do, but you got to be careful about it, because Po1and is essentially inviting Jokas to a base rush now. He's saying, okay, I'm going to pull a tank over from my weak side over to my strong side, and I'm going to hit it together with 2 artillery. But of course, by doing so, he is leaving his weak side completely exposed. But builds another battlecopter, despite the fact that Jokas has an anti-air on the way, and he sets up his infantry in defensive positions along the mountains and the cities, expecting the attack that will inevitably come. Po1and also builds a second tank, so now you can see Po1and is going to do an all-in attack on Jokas' HQ right now. And Jokas has a choice. He can either go all-out attack on his own, on this side, or he can start bringing his units into the center. So it really depends on how confident he's feeling against Po1and now. And he does start to leapfrog his tank ever so slightly forward. He does place it in range, but he's most likely going to back it up with an artillery, I imagine. Yeah, there we go. So artillery beautifully covers the tank so that Po1and does not want to strike it. And of course, we do have the classic Von Bolt city sit. But Po1and goes in for the attack, attacks the infantry in the mountain, goes for the HQ, brings his battlecopters over from his weak side to his strong side. So now you can really tell that Po1and is committed to this attack right now, and he moves his artillery aggressively in, zoning out Jokas' 2 tanks, using the mountain as a shield against the tanks. So this is going to be a wild attack, ladies and gentlemen. On day 9, we already see Po1and going aggressive, and this is why I love watching Po1and's games. He always attacks. He's very aggressive, and just like Starflash, it doesn't always work. But when it works, it's very fun to watch. 2 more artillery coming out from Po1and right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 artillery. How many artillery do you want, Po1and? Yes. My goodness. Jokas bringing in some artillery of his own. But he is about to be seriously outgunned. But Poland, though, completely exposed in this area because he's pulling all of his units over to his strong side. So if he's not careful, Jokas could just attack his HQ too. So we see an attack kind of on both sides right here. We might just be witnessing an HQ rush. But Jokas is cautious. He knows that this attack is very devastating. He can't just run into it. Poland now finishes capturing the comm tower, using his infantry to ward away Jokas' troops. Does not get interrupted, that 10% defense saving him. But he still is trying to delay Jokas from taking the properties. And look at this. Battlecopter comes in to block, and I do believe he plans to put an infantry over here. And Poland's attack continues. His artillery are marching forward with great purpose. More artillery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 artillery out of Poland right now. I mean, he's playing. Is he like cosplaying as Grit or something? I mean, my goodness. This is absolutely incredible. So, artillery spam from Poland right here. And this is going to be a considerable attack. Jokas finishes capturing the property. I think Jokas is a little bit ahead in properties. Poland is still ahead in income though, thanks to being Sasha. And Jokas realizes now, oh my goodness, this crazy Polish guy is coming for my HQ. I gotta make a wall. And I gotta make Poland pay for it. So he moves in, builds more tanks. He knows he cannot out-artillery Poland in this situation. So he decides to go for a bit of an attack on the HQ of his own. Doesn't attack, but starts capturing and moves in an artillery of his own. So day 11, Poland now. Look at that wall he's facing down, the von Bolt wall. That's a scary wall right there. So will Poland retreat? Hell no. He's Poland. He goes for the airport. And Poland has a bit of a... He builds another artillery. You literally cannot make this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artillery out of Poland right now. And he's going for the airport. And if you remember what I said at the start of this match, you may be surmising what Poland is cooking right now. Builds a battlecopter. He has to defend his HQ. He can't, like... Jokas has a considerably smaller force attacking Jokas' HQ. But that's because most of his units are tied down in the defense right here. So how does Poland proceed here? This is the big question. But first, let's see what Jokas decides to do. He moves in his artillery. It's now targeting the HQ. In comes the Antire. Infantry comes in as well. Second artillery on the HQ. Moves in his Antire to complete the wall. Battlecopter advances forward. And he realizes that Poland is most likely targeting his airport now. So he needs to be very careful so that he doesn't lose it. But again, strong defense from Jokas right here. Very strong defense from Jokas. Day 12 rolls in. And now, Poland decides to go for it. Antire comes in. Battlecopter attacks. Tank strikes. Not enough to dislodge the von Bolt tank. But here comes the artillery follow-up, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes the artillery follow-up. And Poland just goes all out. And he creates a nice little wall right here to make it harder for Jokas to break through here. He can't really one-shot the infantry with the Antire because then he doesn't have a follow-up for the battlecopter. Poland also gets a nice shot off on the artillery right here. And does what damage he can. Just tries to delay Jokas' attack as much as possible. Of course, this will fall. But at this point, I believe Poland is just playing for tempo. And I may have just... I don't know when I shifted the map like this. I hope it hasn't been that way for a while. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Don't know how that happened. Alright, so... builds an Antire, a tank, and a battlecopter. Day 12 rolls in. The situation is hectic right now. Poland has a big value lead because of his increased income. But let's see if Jokas is able to make something happen here. Jokas moves in with the tanks. Ooh, a lot of Poland's units are going to die this turn. And Jokas caps the HQ. So Poland's HQ is under threat right now, and there's a lot of forces streaming in. Tank takes some damage. And suddenly it's looking like Jokas is the one who's on the aggressing side right here. It comes to counterattack. Oh, he moves in the Anti-Air to kill the Battlecopter. But that means he's not going to have any Battlecopters of his own. But he does take down the artillery going for the airport. So that means that Po1and's plan to take the airport is probably going to be a bit slower than he would like. Day 13 rolls in. Po1and has a full power bar, and he pops Market Crash, completely cucking Von Bolt's power meter. Bye-bye, no Ex Machina for you. And of course, the cherry on top, the 10 extra firepower and defense, which now puts Po1and on equal footing with Von Bolt, which is nice. So Po1and doesn't want to let his HQ get capped, so he wisely interrupts it, move the tank over to get a nice little shot there. So far, it looks like the HQ is defended. And now Po1and is like, I tricked you. I'm going to go for the HQ anyway. So he moves his units in, and with that many artillery, he can literally place them on the front lines, because if the opponent attacks into them, they'll just get blasted. So because Po1and has, and here comes the bomber. This is a fantastic move by Po1and. Yes, Jokas has many anti-air, but the bomber can still be very scary in picking them off if he doesn't keep them together. But Po1and actually combines his artillery. I guess he wanted to get more units out. Interesting. Jokas' turn rolls in. He attacks the artillery, but he is only able to really kill one of them. So we have a dual HQ rush right here from both sides. Jokas shelling with an artillery of his own. He doesn't have as many artillery as Po1and, but I feel like the ones he have are a lot more effective. Anti-Air rolls down to try and keep the airport zoned out. Last thing he wants is for Po1and to be able to move one of his units up to the left side. That is not an ideal situation. So because if this bomber gets to be here, it's probably GG. But Jokas is mustering a very solid defense against Po1and right now, but he's starting to pull some of his forces over to the left side because he realizes he needs to do something. You can see he's already had half a power bar build up. There's a lot of combat going on right now. But Po1and pops another Market Crash. Bye-bye power meter. No Ex Machina for you. And this is just going to keep rolling out every single turn here. Bomber comes in. Ooh, placing the Battlecopter in front, forcing the Anti-Air to attack the Battlecopter if it wants to kill it, which means it's not going to kill the bomber. That's smart. And Po1and rolls now in with the Battlecopter. And using his sheer mass of units to just wall off. But now, this is dangerous. You remember what I said earlier about stealth fighters? Yeah, Jokas cannot let Po1and take this airport. If he does, Po1and can start building stealth fighters, and that's going to be very problematic for Jokas. Let's see what he decides to do. Po1and uses his artillery to literally wall. This is so crazy. I love this player, man. Literally walling with artillery. Of course, some of them do get picked off, and it is a little ugly, but he just needs to keep Jokas busy. Oh no, Jokas is not taking the airport back, ladies and gentlemen. And look at Po1and's income. So Po1and is losing a lot of troops this turn. But I think we all know what he's going for. And it's going to be devastating when it happens. So Po1and now pulls back. He really doesn't want to deal with that bomber right now. He builds a medium tank. Smart. Needs to defend that base. And it is Po1and's turn. He finishes capping the airport. He now controls both airports, which means Jokas cannot build fighters. And he continues the attack on Jokas' base, which does seem to be falling apart a little bit. But at the same time, he's pushing Jokas back on his HQ side, so it seems to be going better for him. He pops another Market Crash. Bye-bye Von Bolt's power meter. And again, just using his 1 HP units wisely to block. He builds a tank, but did he not? Oh, okay, so he built a Neo this turn. I was sure he was going to bust out a Stealth Fighter, but I guess he wanted that Neo a little bit more, which is smart. You want to out-tech Von Bolt for sure. Day 15 rolls in. And yeah, Po1and's artillery are kind of falling apart here. But he did get the airport, which I think was what he was going for initially. But a lot of his units are getting slaughtered here, and Von Bolt is getting some pretty crazy value here. Jokas playing him really well. Now realizing that he needs to go for the airport. So, yeah, von Bolt definitely getting the better engagements, but Poland still has a superior income to Jokus, even though he's down a few units. In comes the bomber, interrupts the cap, places the tank on the city, very wisely. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. I was waiting for this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Looks like I'm also cutting off a little bit of the map here. Sorry about that. Okay. Maybe I actually... Oh. Maybe I actually accidentally shrunk the map. There we go. Sorry about that. What if I do this? Is that better? Professional Advanced Warriors caster right here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. That's good enough for now. Stealth Fighter comes out, ladies and gentlemen. And Jokus has no counter to this. He cannot build a fighter. So this Stealth Fighter will need one turn to stealth. And then it will have free reign. It can even attack the Anti-Air. The Anti-Air does not damage it back. I believe it used to do that in Dual Strike. I'm not sure though. Jokus now has a Neo tank of his own. And a pretty considerable force. And he now blocks the airport. So at the very least, Poland cannot build a Stealth Fighter right next to Jokus' base. That would have been very devastating. Of course, as I say that, I realize how stupid I sound because he has a bunch of Anti-Air that could have shot it down. But still, probably a good idea to block the airport, just in case. But Jokus has a pretty scary force. A lot of damaged units. But Poland does have the advantage of tech. So the Stealth Fighter moves in and it stealths immediately. And of course, now that there is an Anti-Air here, Poland has to guard his airport before he can build more Stealth Fighters. I'm sure he'd love to get a second one. Here, he actually takes a shot right in... Oh, okay, I see. Moving the bomber in. This is a bit of a weird move, if I'm going to be completely honest. It feels like he's... Oh, okay, never mind. He was going to build another Neo tank. That actually makes sense. I was like, why would you place your Neo tank in range of Jokus' Neo? But, of course, he had plans to build a Neo, so that makes a lot more sense. Builds an APC, that's smart. You need an APC to refuel the Stealth Fighter. It runs out of fuel incredibly quickly. Jokus, though, he goes for the trade. I guess he feels confident doing this because he knows he can block off the Neo tank with his other units. So maybe a bit of a blunder from Poland there. Now he's starting to capture the airport back. But it will take him some time to do that. It will take him 4 turns to cap and then another turn to build. So the fighter won't really be here until like another 7 turns. So this Stealth Fighter is going to generate some pretty crazy value now. Of course, what Jokus can potentially do is go for the APC, try to kill that. But it's going to be easy for Poland to keep that alive if he knows what he's doing. But day 18 rolls in. Jokus gets market crashed. All of his stonks go down the drain. He shouldn't have invested all that money into Bitcoin. We told him it was a bad idea, but he didn't listen. Now he's lost it all. Poland going pretty hard, attacking the Anti-Air here. But there's still 2 fresh Anti-Air behind Jokus' back line, so I don't really know how good this attack is going to be. But what Poland is hoping to do here is just to interrupt this cap, because that would really, really screw Jokus over right here. So both players are kind of... Poland is very reckless in this battle, I gotta say. Sending in his APC to refuel the stealth, and here we go. Boom! 7 HP of damage to the medium tank. But, ladies and gentlemen, Poland may have gone a little bit overboard. Look at Jokus' power meter. He is 4 stars away from Ex Machina, and Poland just popped his power. This could be very scary. Day 18 rolls in. Jokus starts capturing the airport. Moves in with his infantry, takes out the tank. Sacks his Anti-Air, attacks with another Anti-Air, and oh, that power meter is going up very, very fast. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, he's so close to getting it, and he sacks the Anti-Air on the tank, and he pops the Ex Machina. This is terrible for Poland. Oh my goodness, that was devastating. Jokus, the old legend, showing why he is one of the all-time greatest. And then, ladies and gentlemen, to add insult to injury, Jokus surrounds the Stealth Fighter. It can still attack. He can attack the Anti-Air, but he immobilizes it and says, I'm going to keep this thing locked down here forever. You can attack me every turn, but the advantage that I have gained is so big now You can see Poland can destroy a unit easily enough, but Jokas has a unit count lead, which means he can just continuously funnel units around the stealth fighter. And it's just wild. Poland is a sitting duck this turn. He can't move his units away due to the Ex Machina. Day 19 rolls in, and here comes Jokas' counterattack. And he now swaps his infantry in, surrounding the stealth fighter with 4 infantry. There is no greater insult. Why can't it just fly away? Who knows, man? Who knows why advanced wars by web planes, or I should just say advanced wars planes, work like that. But Jokas is now starting to push Poland back on both fronts. And it is not looking good for little Poland right now. He can destroy an infantry every turn, but Jokas has so many more infantry to replace them with that this stealth fighter is gonna crash. It's gonna crash. The APC can't get to them. And right now, Poland has to retreat. He has to move back. He's combining some tanks together to get a medium tank out, hoping to get some kind of response, and now he's starting to switch his forces away. Goes for the luck roll, and he gets it. But it's time for Jokas to come out. Now he has his airport captured, which means he can get fighters out. But honestly, he doesn't really need them, because he's now capturing Poland's airport, and he has the stealth fighter on lockdown, so it doesn't really matter. Like, it can't do anything. It can't do anything. So it's just locked in place. And here comes Jokas with his, what I assume is to be his victory lap right here. Moves in. And it's not looking good for Poland. But Poland gets another property. Keep in mind, he could theoretically try to outlast Jokas and go for the capture victory. Does a market crash. And comes in actually now with a sizable force on the right-hand side. So who knows, maybe Poland could actually defend this. He does have a strong economy. It's not like Jokas has taken a lot of properties. So Poland not quite throwing in the towel yet, although that poor stealth fighter, man. It could be broken out next turn though, if Poland can get some forces near it. But yeah, Jokas blocking the airport, moving in with a bunch of tanks, and ooh, these engagements are nasty to watch. Poland really cannot afford to be losing this many units. And here comes the fighter. And with the fighter arriving on the field, the stealth fighter's days are numbered. It's even being pinned down, so it can't really do much. Poland knows it is going to die. The rescue force arrives to try and break the stealth fighter out, but they're probably too late, ladies and gentlemen. But Poland is not giving up. He's charging in, building a neo-tank on the left side. His economy is still strong. As long as his economy is still strong, he can stay in this fight. But now the fighter is moving out. Uh-oh, stealth fighter. Can Poland break the stealth fighter out, ladies and gentlemen? Will he be able to rescue stealth fighter Chan? Jokas says no. Jokas is like, nah, I'm killing this thing. Poland continues to run headfirst into the Jokas meat grinder. Here comes a bomber out as well. And yeah, Jokas refuses to release the stealth fighter. It has 23 fuel and 1 ammo left. It's gonna use up his last shot. Poland desperately wants to break out that stealth fighter and go get it resupplied, but he cannot do it. Jokas' wall is just too strong. It is just too strong. And he knows that that stealth fighter is screwed. Jokas continues to mop up Poland's forces. Bye-bye goes the stealth fighter. 1 HP left on that bad boy, but it doesn't matter. It is practically useless. Poland, like, Jokas still doesn't want to let it go. He's like, no, I'm killing this stuff. I'm killing this thing. And yeah, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think that there is much Poland can do to come back into this game. But he pops one final market crash, messing over Jokas' entire retirement funds, messing up the economy of France, causing riots in the street. Emmanuel Macron has to resign the next day, and the entire government is in disarray, and they're starting to put people into guillotines again. Poland is like, if you're gonna kill my stealth fighter, I'm gonna build another one. And then he resigns. Oh, lordy, lordy, lord. That was quite a match. That was something, all right. Again, a complete clash of two playstyles here. Po1and is just wild. I mean, his attacks are reckless, but they are effective. I feel like Po1and, he just comes out flailing, you know? He just comes out swinging. And he doesn't care what he hits, as long as he hits something. He's very unpredictable, completely crazy playstyle, walls with artillery, places his artillery in his opponent's face, daring them to punch them, and it's just an absolute joy to watch. Joke is more of a methodical defensive player, and in this particular scenario, he won out against the young upstart. But it was still a very good match. Very, very fun to watch these two players fight against each other. Hope you guys enjoyed the match. Let me know if you did in the video description. No, don't go into the video description. Go in the comment section. And I shall see you guys next time. Bye-bye.